Home sellers are often confident their home should sell for more because of the upgrades, money spent, and emotional attachment they have to the property. But here's the truth: most sellers don't realize the buyer, not the seller, sets the final price of the home. Even when a home has more upgrades than any other property listed on the MLS, that alone does not determine the value of your home will be a lot more than any other home, especially in buyer's market. Buyer holds even more power because of the three major contingencies that can change price, delay closing, or even bring the home back on the market. Stay with me. I'm going to break down exactly how inspection, appraisal, and loan contingencies shift the negotiation in favor of the buyer, and why seller must set proper expectations from day one. My name is Rizwan Pasha. I'm a real estate broker based in Mountain House, California. Today, I'm going to explain why home sellers do not control the final sale price, why the market and the buyer ultimately make that decision. It is human nature for homeowners to feel their home is the best on the block, and it may be. They remember the upgrades, the cost of improvements, and effort they invested. So they expect to recover the full amount. But reality works differently. There are many factors that influence price and speed of sale. Any upgrades rarely return dollar to dollar value because every buyer has different taste. Colors, finishes, textures, and materials are personal choices. What one seller loves, a buyer may not like at all. Sellers upgrade for comfort and lifestyle, not resale value. And some colors or features can help a home sell faster, but they do not set the market price. This leads to the core message of this video. The market sets the value and the buyer confirms it, not the seller. In real estate, buyers gain negotiation power through three contingencies that protect them, not the seller. Typically, they apply mostly to older resale homes, not new construction though. Let's go through all three of these contingencies. Contingency number one is inspection contingency. Older homes can have repairs ranging from a few $100s to several $1,000s. Here's how the inspection contingency play out. The buyer orders an inspection. Any issue found become negotiation point. Buyer can request repair or seller credit. The seller may agree or refuse. However, and this is the key, if the seller refuses, the buyer can walk away with the earnest money protected. This creates a pressure on the seller because the home returns to the market. Other buyers see the inspection report. Weeks of times are lost. Momentum drops. New buyers may ask the same repair questions, even though a seller is not obligated to repair anything. They risk losing the buyer. That leverage favors the buyer in price negotiation. Contingency number two is appraisal contingency. which is one of the most important contingencies. Let's understand a little bit about the appraisal concept. Here is the high-level overview. In the appraisal, the core principle used are market value versus cost. An appraiser's job is to determine market value, the most probable price a willing buyer would pay and a willing seller would accept. Buyers don't care what you as a seller spent. They care about what the finished product is worth to them in the context of the local market. There are two key appraisal concepts that are very important to understand from appraisal point of view. Number one is diminishing return. Number two is the highest and best use. The principle of diminishing return is critical to your renovation budget. Here is the simple truth. Every dollar you spend on an improvement will not guarantee a dollar back in value. There's a point where adding more investment, say installing a third granite countertop in the guest bathroom, adds little to no extra value for the buyer. The return on that investment has diminished. Appraisers recognize this, meaning if your home is significantly over-improved for the neighborhood, your appraisal value may not reflect every dollar you pour into the renovation or upgrades. The lesson here is renovate to neighborhood standard, then stop. The second concept is highest and best use. It is the most important concept in appraisal, especially for land or unique properties. An appraiser must determine the use that will bring the property its maximum value. This value must be legally permissible, physically possible, and financially feasible. For standard home sellers, it means your home must be appraised based on its current use, like a single-family home, because that is the most profitable, practical use for the land. However, if your property is a small single-family home located on a commercially zoned lot, its highest and best use might actually be to tear the house down and build an office building. That potential future use is what the appraiser must consider, as it's what an informed buyer would pay for. This is the most important contingencies tied directly to price. When we say buyers determine the price, this is what we mean. The lender only lends based on the appraised value, not the seller desired price. Appraisers use recent comparable sales, home size, lot size, and condition, whether the home has upgrades or a pool, market activity in the last 60 to 90 days. They do not care what the seller spent on upgrades. For example, list price of the home is $600,000. Appraised value is $500,000. The difference is $100,000. At this point, the buyer has these options. Ask the seller to reduce the price, request to meet in the middle, or walk away with deposit protected. Most buyers cannot cover a $100,000 gap out of pocket because the lender will not finance above the appraised amount. So, the seller must either reduce price to appraised value or lose the buyer. This is why the final price is the market price, not the seller's expectation. Contingency number 3 is loan contingency. This contingency doesn't directly affect price, but it affects whether the sale closes at all. In California, loan contingency is typically 17 to 21 days unless negotiated differently. A loan may fail because underwriter cannot verify down payment, documentation is incomplete by the buyer, a buyer loses a job, credit score drops, debt to income ratio changes. If the loan is denied, the buyer can walk away with deposit protected as long as contingency is there active. Why seller must understand this? The sale is not done until inspection contingency removed, appraisal contingency removed, and number 3, loan contingency removed. Loan is funded, closing documents are signed. Many sellers mistakenly think the sale is final once they accept an offer. They start planning move, selling furniture, or signing new leases before contingencies are removed. This can be a huge mistake. A buyer can lose their job 1 week before closing. If that happens, the lender will not issue the loan. The sale collapses and the seller has no recourse. This is why sellers should wait until all contingencies are removed before making major decisions. Let's recap what we have covered so far. Inspection, appraisal, and loan contingencies. These 3 buyer contingencies are the reason why buyers, not the seller, determines the final price. Understanding these realities helps sellers avoid frustration, avoid surprises, and navigate the home selling process with clarity and confidence. As a seller, if you are mindful of the fact that it is the market value which determines the home price, not the arbitrary number seller wished for. The key to selling your home fast is to determine your property price based on comparative market analysis. For more educational topics related to real estate transactions, don't forget to subscribe this channel. I will see you in next video.